Shalom, Shalom, and welcome. Welcome to the White Robes Family Channel. My name is Symmanayah if you're tuning in for the first time. And these are the words I'm compelled to present before an awakening set-apart nation. To those who are drawn by the Almighty Creator, the Almighty Yahuah, He who is the beginning and the end. But before I continue, let me say this. The views and messages expressed on this media platform do not necessarily reflect the owners, managers, shareholders, and/or sponsors. With that said, let's get started. The final Exodus, Countdown 2023. This is part of a connecting message, specifically zooming in on Set Apart Yashar'al in Motion. Set Apart Yashar'al in Motion. And I have explained why I have this message on the screen saying man, woman, wife, child, as well as the 7 major feast times. I had explained how the 7 major feast times is indeed a vetting tool. You see, Yashar'al, as end times ramp up, if things become intense, people are going to ask the question, how do I know what's right? How do I know who's right? And I said that one of the strongest and core uniting vetting tool is discerning the purposes of the 7 major feast times. In this installment of Final Exodus Countdown 2023, the part where I've embedded Set Apart Yashar'al in Motion, number 3, is entitled Picture This. Picture this, O Yashar'al. You see, we quickly can say we believe a thing or we stand by a thing, but how many among us are looking at the realities of what this thing we say we believe resembles? How many of us are able to discern? How many of us can picture this? We talk about leaving Babylon and departure from Babylon. There must be movement. And I present to you, Yashar'al, we must begin to ask ourselves, what does that movement resemble? What does it resemble? One could say this movement, no one really knows because it hasn't happened. Hasn't occurred. And the movement I'm talking about is Isaiah 11:12, where it says, and he shall raise a banner for the nations and gather the outcasts of Yashar'al and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the 4 corners of the earth. My brothers and sisters, and then I want you to also consider Isaiah 43:5-7. Notice what it says. Listen carefully. If you're not looking and reading. Isaiah 43:5-7. Do not fear, for I am with you. I shall bring your seed from the east and gather you from the west. I shall say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not keep them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth. All those who are called by my name, whom I have created, formed, even made for my esteem. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, it is important for us to know that everyone will not be gathered from the 4 corners of the earth before the physical return of Yahusha Mashiach. There are teachers, mores, pastors, bishops. There are spiritual influencers who would have you believe that we cannot be gathered from the 4 corners of the earth until the Mashiach return, until Yahusha return. Because they don't understand how a gathering can come to be. Because they cannot fathom, they cannot comprehend, they cannot discern how the Most High will bring his children from the 4 corners of the earth to prepare that bride for Yahusha's return. Since they cannot discern it, they just assume dismiss it with unbelief. You see, it says all those he's made for his esteem. And I'm talking about Isaiah 43:7. Notice that there will be martyrs for Yahusha's name. There are those who die before his physical return. So it's not everyone. It's a false teaching to lead you to believe everyone will. Keep in mind, my brothers and sisters, this nation, this set-apart nation on the move, in motion, will consist of 144,000 Hebrews or Abraham, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Yashar'al, and a great multitude. So many people read Revelation in part, and they don't, the 7th chapter in part, and don't read the whole thing. Or they go to the next passage in, I believe, where it mentions the 144,000 singing a song on Mount Zion. And so they think that was the only ones that got sealed. Sadly mistaken, O Yashar'al. I'm referencing Revelation 7:3-4. It says, do not harm the earth, nor the sea, nor the trees, until we have sealed servants of our Almighty One upon their foreheads. And I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000, sealed out of all the tribes of Yashar'al. If you go down further in that same chapter, you'll see Yohanan or John mentioning, after this I looked and I saw a great crowd, which no one was able to count, out of all the nations and tribes and peoples and tongues, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, dressed in white robes and palm branches in their hands, carrying and crying out with a loud voice, saying, deliverance belongs to our Almighty One who sits on the throne. I want you to drop down in that same chapter, the 14th verse, when the question was asked, Master, it was asked, who were these? And the response was, you know. He said to me, these are those coming out of the great distress. You see, coming out of the great distress, the gathering is going to happen before the physical return. It said, having washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. We're going to talk about these things. Let's pray about these things. Let's seek to discern what must be happening, what must occur. In movement, my brothers and sisters, people are involved. There are details, there are processes. But where are the conversations regarding this movement? Are you receiving specific directions on where to go? Know why unity and connectivity is important, O Yashar'al. If there's confusion and arguments and debate, that will hinder fluid movement. It would be like a log jam because people are busy arguing and debating. We must learn how to vet, how to examine, how to discern and understand what is true. Consider these words, O Yashar'al, Matthew 12, 25, and 26. And Yahusha knew their thoughts. See, people think like, you don't know what I'm going through unless you've been in my shoes. People think that they can be very private and work this salvation thing out for themselves. It's not a private thing, Yashar'al. Yahusha knew their thoughts, and if Yahusha works in us, through us, one towards another, he reveals the thoughts of others to us as he see fit. It says, every reign divided against itself is laid waste, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then does his reign stand? Every nation divided against itself. Will Yashar'al stand? Will Yashar'al complete the final exodus? Indeed, we will. Therefore, we cannot be divided against ourselves. Therefore, discipline and correction must come. Come with me to Philippians chapter 1, verse 9 through 11. For it reads, and this I pray, that your love might extend more and more in knowledge and all discernment. This is a requirement for unity, O Yashar'al. He says, it goes on to say, for you to examine the matters that differ in order to be sincere and not stumbling until the day of Messiah, being filled with the fruit of righteousness through Yahusha Messiah, to the esteem and praise of the Almighty One. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, picture this. Consider these components when moving a set-apart nation. How many of us have given thought to the need for discerning specific tasks and duties when coming together? What are the tasks? What are the duties? What are the expertise that have been given us? Leadership. Who are the true chosen leaders of Yashar'al, set apart Yashar'al? Structure. Who goes where, when, and how? What duties do you have? What assignments are given? Details and guidance. Whether it be some directed to go in one direction and we'll meet up with you later, or we go in one direction, we'll meet up with you later. Will there be those that we are to come away from altogether? Will there be those purged? We must begin to picture this, O Yashar'al, for these things will come to be. Who are the participants of the final Exodus? Who are the participants of those who will guide and help protect the flow of set-apart children as they come together? Who determines the timing? When to move, when to stop? How quickly to move? When to slow down? When to yield? And so much more. We must picture this and ask ourselves, do we believe that the Almighty Father has sent or will send individuals who are mindful of the things that are necessary for this final Exodus and so much more? Have you given thought to transportation method? Who will be walking and how far? Who will be riding a bicycle or any other type of singular mechanical mobile device? Motorcycle, auto, SUV, truck, bus, train, airplane, boat, ship, other. What modes of transportation do you believe will exist? And if you will be moving, what mode of transportation do you believe you would participate in? Are we aware that we may have a mode of transportation that runs to its end? Case in point, even a bike, the tires can flatten. Even a motorcycle runs out of fuel, tires get flattened. Even an auto, SUV, or truck, whatever fuel source, it can run out. All of these have limitations as to how many people can get on them. And a train cannot cross the ocean. I've mentioned on many occasions, I believe I am a contributor and will be a contributor towards the gathering of Yashar'al, those that will be coming from the Western Hemisphere. Make no mistake, a train is not going to go across the Atlantic Ocean. Nor will a bus, auto, motorcycle, or bicycle. Now they can be carried on a boat, but it would be fruitless to carry a train on a boat. Airplanes have their limitations. Even ships have their limitations. But we must begin to discuss the realities of our transportation. I have spoken about this final exodus on the West Coast, on the Western Hemisphere, that we will leave via ships, mostly container ships. And I have spoken on this years ago. Interesting how we see now container ships are at the forefront of the news. For such a time as this, O Yashar'al, I believe we will not be packed as we see the containers on the container ship. There will be spaces, configurations of containers to house in upwards of 25 to 50,000 people per ship, maybe more. But there are those who can't fathom being on container ships. Container ships can carry more people than a cruise line. Most cruise lines at maximum may be roughly about 5,000, 3,000 to 5,000 people. And I believe the great multitude will be in the millions, even some millions coming from the Western Hemisphere. Transportation methods, let us talk about them. Let us recognize the details involved, O Yashar'al. Yashar'al in motion. Talk about the reality of what lie ahead is important. My brothers and sisters, it would be wise to identify individuals who demonstrate set-apart obedience. You see, we can say we go on, we leave in Babylon, but if we don't discuss the details, if we don't iron out the logistics as the Spirit of Yahushua has given the skills to his chosen ones, if they don't iron out, it's not going to happen. We'll be busy fighting over who gets the seat. At least we think that it's the strong that will survive. I submit to you, it's those who the Almighty Father has chosen that will survive and be among the ranks of the final Exodus. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. Consider what these words mean during end times. Matthew 10:39 reads, "He who has found his life shall lose it, and he that has lost his life for my sake shall find it." You see, those who are willing to make the sacrifice, those who are willing to obey, will come to realize obedience is indeed greater than sacrifice, as Samuel has said in the scriptures. Obedience, my brothers and sisters. During these end times, we will have to begin to ask one another, what sacrifices are we willing to make for Yahusha's sake? Discern is critical for identifying what the Spirit of Yahuah is directing us. During times such as these, O Yashar'al, I cannot stress it enough. Have the discussions among yourselves, among one another, regarding the things that exist. Picture this, my brothers and sisters. Never take the simplest of things or people for granted. Let me read something I've read before. Hebrews 8:11 says, "And they shall by no means teach each one his neighbor and each one his brother, saying, Know Yahuwah, because they all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest." All of us will see the success and the promise from the Almighty Father to draw his children from the four corners of the earth, to bring them back to the land he has promised. Consider 1 Corinthians 12:18-25. It reads, "But now the Almighty One has set the members, each one of them, in the body, even as he pleased. And if they all had been one member, where would the body be? And now there are indeed many members, but one body. And the eye is unable to say to the hand, I have no need of you. Or again, the head to the feet, I have no need of you. But much rather, those members of the bodies which are thought to be weaker are necessary. And to those of the body which we think to be less respected, these we present greater respect. And our unseemly members have greater seemliness, whereas our seemly members have no need. But the Almighty One blended together the body, having given greater respect to the member which lacks, that there should be no division in the body, but in the members, but that the members should have the same concern one for another. We have different functions, different duties, different tasks. Picture this, my brothers and sisters. In order for these things to occur, there will be purging, there will be coming away, there will be discipline and correctness, there will be unity, forged by the hand of the Almighty Father. Picture this, O Yashar'al. Each mode of transportation has their limitation, like I said before. People. Who gets to ride with whom and how many? How much space is provided? What is the capacity? What routes would we take? What fuel would we need? What's the distance that we can travel before having to refuel or leave that device or that mode of transportation behind? We must begin to look at details and processes that will come into play in this final Exodus. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, we must picture this. It would be wise to have these discussions and get past the disagreements, to identify those who will serve the Spirit of the Almighty Father versus those who will try to save their own lives, their own skin. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, there will be those who have not and those who have. And there will be those who will throw out the passage with the 10 maidens, of which I will read. And there will be those who will understand that some will be ordered to leave with just the clothes on their back. Don't look back, don't go back. And there are those who will find favor and have supplies and resources. And as Yashar'al come together, resources and supplies will be shared and rationed and managed by the guidance of the set-apart leadership under the authority of the Almighty Father Yahuah in Yahusha's name. There will be those who have not. Do not take them as maidens who didn't put oil in their lamp. They may be obedient ones who were ordered to leave and don't go back for anything. We must discern the difference between those who neglected to do what was expected and those who followed living orders. Yashar'al, there will be those who have resources and supplies. As I stated, they would have been ordered. I spoke of seeds and water, but even more, textiles and clothing, food, and other things, tools. Some will have, some will not. But in this final Exodus, we will not leave empty-handed. And let us not blame those who have not, who have followed orders. There's a difference between that versus the slothful and the lazy. Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al. Beware, my brothers and sisters. There's so many teachings out there that are erroneous, but correction comes. Yashar'al, corrections come. Are we hungry? Are we thirsty for that correction to come? What evidence are we demonstrating to prove and show our hunger, our thirst for what is right, what is true? Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al. There are those void of discerning the life in the scriptures and lean only on the parable of the 10 maidens. In case you're not sure what I'm talking about, my brothers and sisters, let me take you there so that you can read with me. In Matthew 25, verse 1 through 12, it reads, "Then the reign of the heavens shall be compared to 10 maidens who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise and 5 foolish. Those who were foolish, having taken their lamps, took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their containers with their lamps. Now while the bridegroom took time, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight a cry was heard, 'See, the bridegroom is coming, go out to meet him.' Then all those maidens rose up and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, 'Give us your oil, because your lamps are going out.' Our lamps are going out, rather. But the wise answered, saying, 'No, indeed, there would not be enough for us and you. Instead, go to those who sell and buy for yourselves.' And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding feast, and the door was shut. And later the other maidens also came, saying, 'Master, Master, open up for us.' But he answered and said, 'Truly I say to you, I do not know you.'" My brothers and sisters, this example of maidens is examples demonstrating the unwise and slothful maiden versus those who were prepared. Make no mistake, do not take this to mean that if you have resources and supplies, that you're not to share them. See, the slothful, those who took what they're supposed to have been for granted, those who have been given wise instruction, those who have been around wise leaders and counsel, but chose to be slothful, this is who it's referring to. It would be wise to know that there are those among us. Some of us will have seeds, some of us will have food, some of us will have water or water filtration system, or knowledge and other abilities on how to manage the things we have and how to pray and look for the things that the Almighty Father present to us Just as he brought manna, quail, and water, what was needed, so will we witness in this final Exodus. The things that are needed will come to be provided. Yashar'al, or Yashar'al, effective communications will be necessary to succeed. So many of us have witnessed individuals who listen waiting to talk. In other words, they're not really hearing what you're saying. They're waiting for you to stop talking so they can say what they want to say. That's the difference between those who actively listen and hear and ask questions to fully understand in order to render judgment on whether the conversation or the words are set apart or not. Beware of those who act like they listen, but they're just waiting for you to get done talking. Effective communications is important for unity. Remember, O Yashar'al, time is a reality. Picture this. The clock ticks forward. Each day passes. Timing is critical. Who has given thought to how much time do we have to get to know one another, to bind closer together? What is it going to take? I submit to you, the conditions we see unfolding are humbling those that are being drawn by the Almighty Father, who prove that its discipline will make a more better body, set apart nation. Consider Colossians 4:5. It says, walk in wisdom towards those who are outside, redeeming the time. We will learn how to walk in wisdom and redeem this time. Come away from childish things, my brothers and sisters. Come away from the jokes, the laughter, and the entertainment. It's time to get serious in this battle. There are assignments going before us. It's time to quit or ignoring them, or ignoring those who are charged with presenting the assignments and duties for this final Exodus. We will witness how to ration and utilize what is provided to fit our needs. And I say to you, O Yashar'al, let us beware of greed, for greed will cause disruption. And if a person is undisciplined, unbridled discipline, no discipline whatsoever, lack of discipline, these are those who will cause destruction. It must be corrected or purged, or we must come away from. My brothers and sisters, there's a difference between wants and needs. And there was a time in the scriptures when Yahuah provided food and man was just plain greedy and was punished for it. And we'll talk about that a little more in a minute. Have discussions on wants versus needs. Let us learn to establish priorities. For there are those who will want to take their energy drinks in this Exodus. There are those who will want to make sure they have their coffee or their tea. The first priority in terms of fluid is water. I'm not saying coffee won't be afforded or tea, but water is the first priority. For water can fit the needs of all who physically live. Caffeine may not necessarily do the trick. And some teas, there may be some allergens. Water becomes the priority. Foods, what foods to eat, what clothing to take. There will be things to leave behind. Let us begin to have those discussions. Let us be ready to move. Let us establish a ready mind without hesitancy, O Yashar'al, and know the difference between wants and needs. Remember, we must use discipline to avoid being greedy. Let me read something to you, O Yashar'al. Come with me to Numbers chapter 11, verse 34. Numbers chapter 11, verse 31 to 34. It's about the greedy, being greedy. And a wind went forth from Yahuah and brought quail from the sea and let them fall beside the camp, about a day's journey on this side and about a day's journey on the other side, all around the camp, about 2 cubits above the surface of the ground. And the people were up all that day and all that night and the next day and gathered the quail. He who had least gathered 10 homers, and they spread them out for themselves all around the camp. The meat was still between their teeth before it was chewed, and the wrath of Yahuah burned against the people, and Yahuah struck the people with an exceedingly great plague. Then he called the name of that place Kibra Hatawa, because there they buried the people who had lusted. Here, my brothers and sisters, during the time Yahuah provided quail, and if you research that there in Exodus, you will see Yahuah was about providing the needs of those whom he was caring after. And we find that in that there were some greedy individuals. And as a result, things happened. In this passage, we see a plague that came. In Exodus, we see a situation where mold and worms came because they did not do exactly as ordered regarding the food that was given by the Almighty Father. So in its final exodus, picture this: rationing is of great importance. Yashar'al, my brother, my sister, remember how to discern and identify living orders, how to vet, how to identify what's coming from the Almighty Father and what's not. This is highly possible to the one that has been trained, disciplined, and brought to that level of hearing the voice of the Almighty Father. Discernment, my brothers and sisters, identifying living orders. Also remember this, O Yashar'al. There will be those left behind. Not all left behind are disobedient. There will be those left behind to reassure those who are left behind they can still repent and cry out to the Almighty Father, to let them know that this plan belongs to the Almighty Father. There will be those who will lose their life for Yahusha's sake, to present final words to those who are left behind. We will be ordered to adjust and adapt to changing situations, O Yashar'al, as we move intermittently in this final exodus. There will be individuals from the youngest to seniors in transit. As I said before, I believe it would be mostly children. I did not say all children, mostly. End times will prove to demand we learn how to manage our emotions and focus, lest they cause a delay in our response to marching orders. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, we will face many challenges ahead. It will be wise to know how to manage likes and dislikes. Not spend a lot of time saying, I don't like that. I don't like him. Or I like this. I like that. Spending too much time arguing. I don't want to be around this. I don't like this. We may not like what's occurring, O Yashar'al, but it is important to discern with precision the living orders and accept, adapt, and adjust to what is ordered by the Almighty Father. I ask you, as I ask often, are you satisfied with your community head, your pastor, your moray, your bishop, your priest, your teacher, your spiritual influencer? Are they sharing with you how to govern yourself in these final days? In the midst of uncertainty, in the midst of pandemic, in the midst of volcanoes, earthquakes, drought, wildfires, in the midst of deteriorating conditions, are they teaching you on what you must do, even in the event of their demise? Or are they busy entertaining you? Are they busy bolstering their own egos, their own position, what they have done? Are they lifting up Yahusha Mashiach? If not, my brothers and sisters, it's time to reevaluate. Will you be an instrument of correction to them? Or will you be ordered to come away from them? Remember the life in these words, O Yashar'al. As Yashar'al is in motion, Remember these words. John 14:10-14 reads, "Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak for myself, but the Father who stays in me does his works. Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father in me. Otherwise, believe me because of the works themselves. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he shall do also. And greater works than these he shall do because I go to the Father." What do you think those greater works are? Picture this, O Yashar'al. Individuals speaking with power to heal. Individuals speaking in such a way that it stirs the spirit and helps you identify Yahusha's presence within you. Individuals who cause the earth to move and sinkholes to open up, to remove obstacles as they are being gathered from the four corners of, as we are being gathered. Individuals that demonstrate power like Elijah or Musa or any one of the 12 taught ones. Individuals who will speak with the power to cause the literal breath to leave one's body, as with Ananias and Sapphira. Greater works. Anything that you can possibly fathom within the boundaries of the scriptures is possible. For the Spirit of Yahuah works in us, through us, one towards another. Greater works, duties, responsibilities. Many of us glaze over the greater works and think it's just healing. And I say to you, my brothers and sisters, it's tasks and duties that you didn't even believe you had the abilities to accomplish. We will discover those. He said, "Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he shall do also. And greater works than these he shall do because I go to the Father. Whatever you ask in my name, that I shall do in order that the Father might be esteemed in the Son. If you ask whatever in my name, I shall do it." If you stick with just the text and stop there, you think that anything you ask in Yahusha's name, you'll get it, he'll do it. He's not our puppet nor our slave. So when he say, "Ask in my name," we must discern what it is that he wants and ask, how can we do it? How can we perform that greater works? Not just, it's not some convenient thing we can do. Just ask him. I'm asking for $1 million. I'll ask him for a Porsche, or I'll ask him for land. Consider 1 John 5:13-14, my brothers and sisters, and you will come to know what I'm talking about. 1 John 5:13-14. See, if you're stuck on the letter, you'll think if you just say anything in Yahushua's name, you can get it. You must study to show thyself approved and understand what is set apart. 1 John 5:13-14 says, "I have written this to you who believe in the name of the Son of the Almighty One, so that you know that you possess everlasting life, and so that you believe in the name of the Son of the Almighty One. And this is the boldness that we have in him, that if we ask whatever according to his desire, he hears us." So many people leave that out. So many teachings and preachings avoid of making the instructions whole. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. We will discover and witness the set-apart power of the Almighty Yahuah. We will see him work in us and through us, one towards another. We will see a unified nation come to be. And we will discover the cost that is necessary to bring this to reality. Know this, O Yashar'al. Things will not be done by majority rule. Though that we will see models of people saying we vote on it. You'll see models of people trying to put the strong together and say leadership will direct and control. Make no mistake. He who is the sovereign, commonly known by many as King, Yahusha Mashiach, Spirit will work through whomever he chooses to deliver the things that is necessary to render judgment, the judgment necessary for forging and bringing us close together, fitly joined together as one body, as what is necessary We must begin to look at the processes, details that are required, O Yashar'al. It's time, my brothers and sisters. It's time to have discussions regarding details and processes. It's time to hear, to listen. It's time to recognize the talents that you've been given, the resources, the abilities. Some of you will have resources and supplies. Some of you may have finances that help those who are charged with doing specific things according to the Almighty Father's orders. You may have seen my Cash App, White Rose Family. I ask for your help. Whether it's $1, whether it's 50 cents. You see, in many comes more, comes much. And you might say, well, what are you going to do with it? It helps towards my sustainability. It helps towards my ability to not be distracted by the cares of this captivity, but to begin to focus more and more on bringing Yashar'al together. And I believe in the Western Hemisphere, the gathering will take place in the Commonwealth of Virginia, in the state of Virginia. Are you contributing towards that gathering occurring, whether you are in it or not? You might not even know you're going to be in it right now. But it would be interesting to find out that you're in those ranks and that you gave something to help fortify the structure that's necessary for this final exodus. From the chartering or the negotiating of ships to the fitting of the containers for human transport, to the food and supplies, to the tools, to the drivers of vehicles that would help bring people towards this spot. Picture this, O Yashar'al. There are states that are firing their employees because they're not receiving the jab or this vaccine. There are companies, entities, and groups, and governments, and communities. There are different types of entities ostracizing or pushing away those who don't have the jab or have not been vaccinated. Could this be the beginnings of forcing Yashar'al to come together? Will we begin to see people who are vaccinated gather more in unity with one another versus those who are not? Will we see individuals who are unvaccinated begin to start looking for others unvaccinated and they're coming close together? Are these individuals with natural immunities, as man may say? Or are these individuals that have been covered by the blood of the Lamb, protected by the Almighty Father, who has chosen them for such a time as this, for things to do? Are we witnessing the beginnings of things to bring Yashar'al together, from earthquakes to volcanoes, from storms, from hurricanes, from tsunamis, from droughts, from wildfire? And soon there will be rivers turning to blood, drawing and forcing man in the direction that the Almighty Father would have them go. For the children of Yashar'al, that direction is to the promised land, or to the grave. For as destruction comes, some of us will go to the grave. But the body goes to the earth, as Ecclesiastes states. Our spirit goes to the Almighty Father Yahuah. It doesn't say to heaven. Wherever that place of rest is, that's where we'll go into resurrection time. So be not afraid, O Yashar'al. These are the days to prepare us, to shape us, to equip us with that time of transformation that the scriptures speak of. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al. It's time to hear. It's time to listen. It's time to ask questions. It's time to discern the things that will strengthen you as a set-apart one and Yahuah by Yahusha Mashiach. It's time to recognize that the name Yahusha reflects his word that was manifest before us, his word that came in an embodiment and made the sacrifice, the resurrection, his word that came in the name of Yahusha. Are we not aware that the Almighty Father sent his set-apart spirit in Yahusha's name as written in the scriptures? Yashar'al, Yashar'al, we will see how Yahusha and Yahuah are one. We will grow to understand it. Those who will be a part of the final Exodus, those who will be demonstrators of the oneness that the Almighty Father will shape us to be in preparing the bride for the physical return of Yahushua HaMashiach. Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al, picture this, the realities of all that is necessary. Getting beyond the arguments, the distractions, the pain and the suffering. Focusing forward, knowing that this plan belongs to the Almighty Father. Picture this, my brothers and sisters, and believe. Do not fall for those who, because they cannot bring physical proof right then and there. What if Noah said, I don't believe it's going to rain. I'll build the ark when the rain comes. What if Lot and his family would have said, I'm going to wait till the fire starts falling out the sky, and then I believe you're going to destroy the cities. You see, my brothers and sisters, belief. Read Hebrews 11th chapter and understand what belief is. The evidence of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It's impossible to please the Almighty Father without belief. Believe this. Picture this, O Yashar'al. Movement is coming. I have dedicated a series called The Closing Scroll. Look at the time and date that was presented. And look around you now. Do you think movement is coming? Picture this. Mass numbers of set-apart children of Yahuah coming to the Commonwealth of Virginia, coming to the state of Virginia, prepared to be transported to the promised land. Picture this, O Yashar'al. World leaders seeing servants of Yahuah speak things that make the world know that Yahuah is real and that his presence is going before us, that his judgment, his vengeance, and his wrath, as well as his favor, is stirring before us. Picture this, O Yashar'al, the world government, the owners of container ships, allowing them to be chartered or to be used to transport Yashar'al. Picture this, that the borders of the promised land, from the Euphrates to east of the Nile River. Picture this, that the world comes together and say, let the children of Yahuah come back and receive possession of the promised land. Picture this, O Yashar'al, the true Mount Sinai, which is commonly known as Jabal al-Lawz, is released to the children of Yahuah. Picture this, that there will be leaders, shepherds, formation and structure in this final Exodus. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, stay tuned. Details and processes will be made clear. I invite you to visit my website, O Yashar'al. Don't you want to get connected and involved? Will you help me in the name of Yahusha? Will you contribute towards the works that are ordered by the Almighty Father? What say you, O Yashar'al? There are other ways and means to bring your abilities, your talents, the things you have found favored by Yahuah, together to watch a set-apart nation come together in unity, forged by the hand of the Almighty Father, structured by his power and might, working in us and through us. So many teachers and spiritual influences will tell you, Yah gonna do it, Yah gonna do it, Yahuah gonna do it, the Most High gonna do it. But they fail to realize the very book that they read, that in its original form was the result of inspiration by the Spirit of Yahuah directing them to write the original scriptures. The very scriptures that they speak of are a product of Yahuah working through man. The very thing that is occurring right now regarding a set-apart nation is a result of Yahuah working in us, through us. We must learn how to vet and identify his presence. know when to yield, when to speak, when to stand strong as a tree planted by the rivers of water. O Yashar'al, I salute your tolerance and your patience. Continue with me, for there is more to come regarding the final Exodus. Countdown 2023. You see, when it say no nation divided against itself can stand, all of these nations on this planet are divided against itself. And they will crumble. They will crumble into a one world government, but they will be divided against themselves even in that structure. And in their jealousy, they will gather in the valley of Megiddo and plan a march towards the camp of Yashar'al. Because we will demonstrate we are a nation of unity, set apart and chosen by the Almighty Father, consisting of both Hebrews and Gentiles, or Abraham and Goyim, Goyim meaning other nations, that are drawn, not everybody, those that are drawn by the Almighty Father, the Almighty Creator Yahuah, to Yahusha, for no one can go unto the Father except by the Son. And the Son represents the manifestation of Yahuwah's word and spirit. On that note, I pray that you grow in discernment, O Yashar'al. I pray that you grow, that we grow in wisdom and knowledge and discipline. Behold, the hand of the Almighty Father is rising before us. What say you, O listen to these words? What say you, O viewer of this message? Come, let us behold the presence of the Almighty Father, and let us proclaim his presence and his direction. I pray for your good health. I pray for your ability to adapt and adjust swiftly as demanding change come as ordered by the Almighty Father. On that note, I will pause here with the words, or should I say word, Shalum.